Well, hello everyone. I'm back with a new video, but unfortunately, I guess this is not one of my usual videos. It's not about the usual topic. I'm still working on my project, okay? It's just coming along a little bit slowly. And I've wanted to record this for a couple of weeks now. This video is going to be about Magic the Gathering, and in particular it's going to be about slivers, about these little creatures. Now, I started playing Magic about 15 years ago, and I immediately fell in love with slivers. I've been collecting them practically ever since, although I didn't get really serious about getting all of them until 2015 or so. And I actually completed my collection recently, and I want to show it and, comment on some of the cards and tell little anecdotes about how I got the cards and the conversations I've had about slivers throughout the years. So I actually went over the conversations I had with the sellers. Right, I bought most of the collection online, and something really funny is that I'm usually a little bit pedantic when I write. Not so much when I speak, but when I write, yeah, I'm a little bit pedantic. And the funny thing is, in 2015, it was even worse. So it was really funny reading the conversations I had with the sellers and other people. And I did that so I could remember better the details, because I remember some anecdotes, but not all the details. And something really good that I did is I almost always leave a comment when I make a purchase. And I always leave some details, like thank you for gifting me these cards, or awesome seller, we talked about this and that. Like, a good recommendation, good feedback. And that actually has helped me remember a lot of the details. Now, something to note, okay, is my collection is in Spanish. Okay, I'm Spanish, so I've collected the cards in Spanish, except those that only exist in English, of course. And, well, there are some special cases here and there. But I have several cards in English, and I thought about having a mix of them. But I thought that would be a little bit annoying, perhaps. And if you're watching this, you're probably a Sliver fan, so you know the names of the slivers, and I will be speaking in English, as you can hear, so I don't think there will be any trouble identifying the cards. Also, my collection includes things that are not slivers by themselves, but that depict slivers or that have a direct relation to slivers. So if a card has a sliver in its artwork, but it's not a sliver, it's also in the collection. And most of the cards are near mint, what is called in Europe near mint, or pretty much mint, okay? Anything from 2015 to the present, it's pretty much mint. Everything else is near mint, okay? Maybe there's one small mark or one small scratch. Not really scratches, like little marks that you don't really see at first glance. So without further ado, let's start, okay? So we start in the year 1997 with the Tempest block. Now, let me put the cards so there's not a lot of reflection. My setup is a little bit improvised, so there will be some strange noises perhaps when I touch something, or a little bit of reflection, but you will have to excuse that, sorry. Now, these are the first generation slivers, like the original slivers. There are some absolute classics here, okay? And some of them are even playable today. Usually throughout the years, we have experienced some power creep. We have newer slivers that are better than the originals from Tempest, but some of these hold really well. And something I want to mention before I start going through the cards is the translation of the name slivers, okay? In Spanish they are called fragmentados, okay? And I think I really like this translation. Okay, I'm studying to become a translator, so I want to mention that this is a really good translation. In English, Sliver, it's like a part of something. Okay, in Spanish, it's fragmentado, which literally means a fragment of something, or you could even say defragmented. Okay, los fragmentados. And I really like it. I think it conveys very well the original meaning, I think, and it sounds really powerful even. Like you have that hard G in Spanish, okay, fragmentado. In English you go, well, today I'm playing Slivers, and okay, some people will groan. But in Spanish you go, I have brought the fragmentados, okay, and that name instills fear in the hearts of your opponents. It's like if you say, instead of Slivers, I'm playing fragmentados, you already have an advantage. And I really love the translation of the name. As you can see, okay, there is a little bit of a reflection because I have them sleeved in Dragon Shield syllable sleeves. And usually I also have them double sleeved when I play with Dragon Shield silver sleeves. And if you wonder what I chose silver for the Slivers, yes, it's that obvious. It's because it's an anagram. Okay, I'm that kind of guy. And honestly, if you don't put silver sleeves on your Slivers deck, you're playing Slivers wrong. Okay, that's a fact. Now let's start. So the first one we have here is the armor Sliver, right? I won't go over all the details of the cards. I will comment on some of them. Unfortunately, this Sliver it's a little bit out of fashion. Okay, there are better Slivers right now, and I don't think this one has room in a lot of decks nowadays. But then we go to Disenchant, okay, and here we can see Hannah destroying a metallic Sliver. Then I have two more versions of Disenchant, okay? This one with the gold border, and this other one, it looks almost the same, but it has this little mark here, this SB. I'm not sure what this means, the SB, but the gold border is because these cards are not tournament legal, okay? These are reprints that they used to make for... so when a deck won a championship, they reprinted the whole deck for collectors. And this is why these cards have this gold border. They are different versions of the same card, but I still got them for completion's sake. And you can see even there is a signature here, but this is not like a hand signature. This comes with every card. And then we move on to Gallantry. And this one is a little bit weird. The shadow of this monster. I read it's meant to be the shadow of a Sliver. I think it's meant to be the Sliver Queen. But it doesn't look that much like a Sliver. So I'm not sure if that's actually the case, but here it is, just in case. Now we have here the Sliver is the Claw Sliver, I think. Oh my, I don't... Is that the name in English? Anyway, pretty solid Sliver, gives first strike. Still pretty solid today. There are Slivers that are a little bit better, a little bit more efficient, but this one still holds. And then the Mnemonic Sliver. And I think this Sliver is actually underrated. If you are going for a fully thematic Slivers deck, this one is one of the few that gives you card draw. Okay, and it's also a sacrifice outlet, which is pretty useful sometimes if you want to prevent a Sliver from being exiled. This is one way of doing it. I think it's better than it looks, this one actually. And here, an absolute classic, of course, the Winged Sliver. I absolutely love the artwork, okay? They look like pterodactyls. I love this drawing, it's absolutely amazing. And of course, they give flying to all of your Slivers for 2 mana, which is still really good, really playable today. Again, there are better Slivers, but this one still has room in a lot of decks, in my opinion, and absolutely stunning artwork. Now, we get now to one of the most unique pieces of the collection, and it's a winged Sliver, but the Korean version of the card. Now, why is this one special? If you look over here to the mana cost, this one is actually more expensive, and this was a misprint. I think all of the Korean slivers, winged slivers, were printed with this mistake. So I got a copy for completion's sake again. And apparently this isn't the only time this has happened. In Spanish, in Magic 2014, we have this Entomb, right? The classic black spell. For 1 mana, you get a creature back to your hand from the graveyard. But in the Spanish card, actually gets your creature back to the battlefield. So it's if you don't know about that, if you don't know about the misprint, it's an incredibly powerful card, but unfortunately it doesn't really work that way, and it was fixed in the next year. Okay, then we go to Cloth Sliver, and this one was pretty popular in the old days, I believe, but nowadays, again, unfortunately, it's a little bit not that good, you know. You have to pay 2 to regenerate. It's still decent, but a little bit, it falls a little bit short. And then the Mind Whip Sliver. Again, it has fallen out of favor, but the artwork in this card is so interesting. Is this part of the stronghold? I'm not even sure where they are supposed to be. Is this maybe like a piece of the Weatherlight? I don't know. It's very interesting, but I don't know what it is. Oh, and the Barbed Sliver. Again, similar to the Armor Sliver. There are much better slivers nowadays for this effect, and it's not it's not super impressive, the effect anyways. But still, really interesting artwork. It's old school Magic artwork, and it reminds me of Dark Bramble. Have you played Outer Wilds? There is a planet in that game that this drawing it's very similar. It evokes the aesthetics of that planet. And of course, another instant classic, the Heart Sliver. Or your slivers have haste, and haste didn't even exist back then, so it actually says slivers don't have summoning sickness. And followed by another absolutely classic sliver, the Muscle Sliver. +1/+1 to all your slivers. Again, there are better slivers nowadays, but this one still holds. It still holds its ground. It's really powerful. You want to have the better versions and also this one. And of course, the Metallic Sliver, which we have seen here before. I must say the figurine, it's actually really well made. Like they have put a lot of the details in the drawing of the card. It's incredible, really. I'm really impressed with this little thing. It even has here the type and the power toughness. These ones came in boosters, okay? Like you had token boosters with figurines like these ones. You had for angels, for demons, a little bit of everything. And this one was actually the last one on sale. So I got lucky and I got the last one before they ran out. They are again back in stock. Okay, they are not making them anymore. They are in stock in the market, but unfortunately, the price has spiked quite a bit. Anyway, we now move on to Stronghold. Okay, the next set in the Tempest block. And here we have the Sliver Queen. Okay, this is just an instant change of heart. And I really like this instant. Actually depicts an important moment in the story of the Weatherlight saga. We have Karn here, and of course the Sliver Queen, which is huge. And this is the moment in which Karn convinces her to give him the pieces of the legacy that she's protecting. So, as you probably know, slivers have a high mind, okay? But the source of the high mind, the legendary sliver that is holding all the slivers together, she actually has a higher conscience, okay? She's capable of communicating and rational thought. And I really like this moment in the story because despite the Sliver Queen being held by Borrath, and she's trying to stop the Weatherlight crew from getting the pieces of the legacy, Karn actually manages to convince her to give him the pieces. He tells her something like, "For me, the legacy pieces are like your blood to you, okay? These pieces of the legacy are like my children," and that actually convinces the Sliver Queen, and she gives him the pieces of the legacy. I think it's really, really nice. It's a little, I don't know, I find it beautiful. Despite being these kind of mindless monsters controlled by one single impulse, as a whole they are actually capable of that, which is really neat. Okay, then Ballista Ambush, I think this is the name of the card in English. And you can see, of course, the soldiers firing the ballistas, and this is probably a winged sliver, it looks like it. Now, the Acidic Sliver. Again, a little bit outdated. You have to sacrifice slivers to do damage, but cool artwork. I like how it's exploding out of the ground. And the Crystalline Sliver, a very, very famous sliver that gives a magic immunity to all of your slivers, and well, every sliver. Really, really powerful sliver, but sometimes it's a little bit tricky, okay? Because it gives magic immunity from your opponents, so hexproof, but also it protects them from your own magic and abilities. So it can be actually harmful if you are playing slivers that give abilities to regenerate or increase power of toughness, but still incredibly powerful sliver. And it combines really well with the Hibernation Sliver, okay? It allows you to bounce a sliver for 2 lives, so you can actually do some shenanigans, bouncing back and forth this one to remove the magic immunity, pumping your slivers, and then playing it again. And again, this one, really powerful effect. And of course, we get to the Sliver Queen. The first legendary sliver, 5 colors, 7/7, puts tokens onto the battlefield, which paying 2 mana for a 1/1 is usually not a good deal, but in this case it's not just going to be a 1/1, it's going to be a 3/3 with flying on first strike and whatnot, so incredibly powerful ability. Love the artwork, of course, we can see the queen here in all her majesty. And I read that during development, she was actually going to have trample, but they removed it because it didn't match with the mechanic of the slivers. All the slivers grant one of their ability to each of the slivers, so they removed trample. I think they thought the queen was powerful enough without it. And of course, it's Stronghold is so old that we don't even have the creature type here. It reads right here. The Sliver Queen is considered a sliver. And again, this is the Spine Sliver, I think. Pretty solid effect. Pumps your slivers when they are blocked. And the Victual Slivers lets you sacrifice to get back lives. Not a really good sliver, but it's part of the collection, so here it is. And now we go to Exodus. The only card with a sliver in it is the Sphere of Resistance. This one, it's a pretty popular card, and it's in the collection because we have a sliver right here in this corner. Okay, we can also see goblins, skeletons. I'm not sure what this is. Something from Volrath's Stronghold, probably. But yeah, there is a sliver, so it's part of the collection. And we also have a reprint with the gold border, because this card was used in competitive decks, so they reprinted it in the collector's edition, as you can see. World Championship Tokyo, 1999. Now, The next time that new Slivers were printed was in the Onslaught block, like 6 or 7 years later, but before that, we have another special piece of the collection, and this one. The card is a little bit big, so let me just move the camera a little bit. There we go. Okay, that should be it. So, as you can see, this is an oversized card, and this is from the year 98, I think. This belongs to Vanguard. This is a Vanguard card, and Vanguard there was a format. Okay, it was like a mix of Elder Dragon, Highlander, and regular Magic. You could play it in multiplayer, but you had 20 lives. The Vanguards actually increase how much life you have at the start and the size of your starting hand. And they give you some sort of ability, like your commander, basically. So in this case, it's an active ability to put tokens. Others gave you passive abilities or continuous effects. And these cards are actually slightly bigger than the oversized commanders. As you can see, it doesn't fit completely in the sleeve. Okay, this part is a little bit out of the sleeve, and the card is actually quite thicker. These are like twice as thick as the regular oversized cards. So Vanguard didn't have a lot of success, unfortunately. Well, it did have success for a while, but it kind of fell out of the radar. But still, we got a Sliver Queen from it, and there it is, a pretty neat relic from the past. And now, also, before we jump to the Onslaught block, we're going to make a brief stop here on Unglued. And the reason this card is in the collection, Volrath's motion sensor, these ones are only printed in English, so the card is not in Spanish. So we can see here some kind of minion trying to steal Volrath's dinner. And Volrath's dinner is actually a cooked sliver. So apparently Volrath eats slivers, which is kind of interesting. No wonder the Sliver Queen was so quick to to give the legacy parts to Karn. Alright, so let's go to Onslaught now. The only card related to Slivers in Onslaught is the Riptide Replicator. Now, we can see here the scientists or the wizards from the Riptide project actually building new molds. Building or creating new Slivers from a mold. And this is because after the events of Tempest, the Slivers actually go extinct. There is an apocalyptic event and all of them die. And this is like 200 years later, I think. The Riptide researchers find some fossils and they try to recreate the Slivers to see what they were and how they behaved. And this is how they did it. Something I want to mention about the Riptide project. In Spanish, as you can see, it's called the Resaca project. And Resaca in Spanish, yes, it means Riptide, but it also means hangover. So in Spanish, most people are not going to read this as Riptide Replicator, but as Hangover Replicator, okay? And the Riptide project is the Hangover project. So this will never not be funny to me, because it makes it sound like like the Riptide researchers were just half drunk one afternoon and they decided to revive these fossils just for fun and provoke half an apocalypse in the process. In the story, after the Slivers are resurrected, they don't have their queen anymore, and they need like this source of a hive mind, so they start going crazy and they start reproducing and copying abilities and powerful effects and spells, and they go they get out of control and start destroying everything, the laboratory of the Riptide project and half a continent basically. Now, we get to Legions, and this is where most of the, or pretty much of all of these slivers are in this expansion. We have the Essence sliver, absolute classic. It gives you back, it gives life steal to all of your slivers, pretty powerful effect. Then the Plate sliver, which is like kind of an upgrade on the Armor sliver we saw on Tempest. Okay, it only gives 1 point of toughness, but it's a continuous effect. You don't have to pay for it for each sliver. So I would say that this one is actually a better sliver, and it's just 1 mana. It makes the slivers slightly more resistant. Pretty beautiful artwork, by the way. I really like how it's coiled around a stone. This is Otaria, the continent of Otaria, but it feels, well, it's looked very like a desert. I don't know, something about this artwork I really like. Then we have the Ward sliver, really powerful sliver. Okay, it gives protection from 1 color and you can bounce it, and with the Hibernation sliver, pretty powerful effect. I really like how the red magic is just bouncing off of it. Fantastic artwork. And then the Mistform sliver. This is like a changeling sliver, kind of an interesting concept. I don't know if we had changelings back here, but it gives all the creature types to a single sliver paying mana. Kind of interesting effect, but not really super useful in most cases. And here is the Shifting sliver. This one can't end the game on the spot. It makes slivers unblockable. I really like how it's like underwater. It's like a swimming sliver, which there aren't many of those, like maybe 2 or 3, but this is like the only one that we can see fully underwater. And I really like the use of blues in this card. Like, this card is 100% blue, and I love it. I don't know, it's very well drawn and it conveys very well the effect of this sliver. And of course, the Synapse sliver. This one is one of the few that is not fully near mint. I bought this one when I didn't pay that much attention to the grade of the cards. And I think maybe on the back, if the reflection allows us. Yeah, I think here on the corner you can see a little bit of white spots, but it has some more noticeable wear. But the sleeve is not going to let us see it. But it's not as well preserved as it could be. I might get a near mint copy one day, but this sliver, when I bought it 5 or 6 years ago, no, actually 7 years ago, it was pretty cheap, and nowadays I won't buy it on a whim, you know. I actually have to save a little bit of money to get one of these. And of course, that's the reason is because it's a really powerful effect. It lets you draw cards like crazy. Then we have a Twisted Researcher researching on slivers, again a member of the Riptide project. And the Crypt sliver, and this one actually I really like. It lets every sliver regenerate itself. I think it's a pretty powerful effect. And again, absolutely stunning artwork. I just love all the artwork of the slivers. And the Spectral sliver. And this is like a mix of the Barbed and the Armored sliver. It's the same effect, but it pumps a sliver for 1 toughness and 1 power, not just one or the other. And again, wonderful artwork. And the Toxin sliver, so it's kind of a death touch for every sliver. Very powerful effect, makes slivers really scary. Again, I really love the Swamp, the Bog, and how the slivers adapt to where they live or the menaces they encounter. That's something I really like about this type of creature. What was the name of this one in English? Blade Sliver, I think. Well, it makes all your slivers stronger, +1 power. And then the Hunter Sliver. It gives all your slivers provoke, and this is like a really old ability. it's not printed anymore, this ability. I think... I don't remember what's the reason, but I think it's actually a pretty powerful effect. It forces your enemy to block the way you want. And in a Sliver deck, that means that you are going to get rid of most of the enemy's threats without you suffering many losses for it. And of course, the Magma Sliver, and this one is absolutely incredible. This one is a finisher, okay? If this hits the battlefield, someone is going to die if they don't kill this thing right away. It's really, really powerful. Oh, and the Broad Sliver. A sliver that gives you more slivers. What's not to like? Look at all of the broad here. Fantastic. Oh, by the way, this card... sorry, I have some bullet points here on my screen, so I don't forget anything. This card I actually had in English, and I traded it for this one you see here in Spanish. I traded it with a friend of a friend, okay? So I met a friend in the city where my grandparents live, and one day we went to one of his friends' house. We played some Commander for a little while, and he showed me some of the slivers he had, and he had this one in perfect conditions, pretty much completely mint. And oh wow, I'm looking for this card in Spanish, and hey, let's trade, man. And we traded it, and this is how I got this card. So John, if you are watching, say hi to Jorge from me and tell him, hey, there's your sliver. Then Quick Sliver, fantastic sliver drawn by John Avon, which is very interesting. I think he mostly draws artwork for lands. Absolutely stunning artwork for lands, and absolutely wonderful art here also. Gives your slivers flash. Very powerful effect, and you never know what's going to hit you with this sliver in play. Absolutely amazing. Underroot Sliver. The bane of control players. Slivers cannot be countered. There's not much more to say. Wonderful effect. Oh, and here's something interesting. A sliver token from Legions. Now, back in these days, I think 2002, 2003, Wizards didn't actually print tokens. So these tokens were given to players as rewards. I think maybe it was these were judge reward promos, or maybe some rewards for competing in tournaments. I'm not sure, but there are very few of these actually. So something I really like about this is that we have here a generic sliver. Okay, normally they have extra body parts, or they have changed to better fit the environment, but here it's just a simple sliver, a generic sliver. Like, this is what a sliver usually looks like. And now we move on to this is okay, we have Onslaught, Legions. This is Scorch, yes. So Metamorphose. We have something, either a sliver transforming into something else, or something transforming into a sliver. So that's the effect of the card. Then a survivor of the Riptide Project. Of course, after the slivers get loose, they start killing everyone and invading the land. And this is the survivor. And here in the background we can see actually a little tiny sliver. Well, it's not tiny, it's just in the background, so it's really small. But here we have a sliver. And then, of course, Uncontrolled Infestation. We have sliver tokens destroying the Riptide laboratories. Whoa, spoilers. And the Stabilizer. Okay, here we have the researchers trying to contain the slivers. Pretty interesting artifact. You cannot cycle cards, so it's kind of a huge blow for certain strategies. Now, before we boom... okay, no, we are missing one very important sliver here. The second legendary sliver, the Sliver Overlord. Again, 5 colors, 7/7. It allows you to fetch for any sliver and put it into your hand. So, incredibly powerful. you can always have the sliver you need. And this sliver is actually the new hive mind in this part of the story, because since they don't have the queen anymore, they kind of start, some of the slivers start fusing together. This is why the Overlord has several claws and several heads. And this is the new hive mind until there is another apocalyptic event. And I think it doesn't die. The slivers aren't extinct after this. Many of them die, like, well, most of Dominaria, the plane of the slivers, die. But this one, I think it dissolves, and some of the slivers survive as just wandering slivers. Okay, and again here we have some special cards. This is a muscle sliver from Tempest, but as you can see, it's a foil sliver, right? And Tempest didn't have foil cards yet. I think they actually started a little bit before Legions, around Urza's Saga, I think. And so they made these special foil cards with the star logo for as Friday Night Magic promos, I think, and they printed around the time of Legions and the Onslaught block. They printed the muscle sliver. Again, these ones only exist in English. And the crystalline sliver. Again, it's foil, beautiful. And unfortunately, there aren't many of these left, so they are a little bit pricey, but I managed to get one copy of each in very well conditions. Now, the next card. Oh, no, yeah, this is a sliver token. This is I forgot about this one. I thought I had it later. So this is a custom sliver card, lovely drawing, and this one was actually a gift. Okay, when I bought the Sliver Overlord, actually, here it is. The seller, okay, this one I bought it in Holland, and the seller was super cool and actually sent me an extra sliver token, this made by them at the store, and they included a copy, so I was super happy about it. I love the token, and I included it in the collection, of course. And now, before we move on to the next set of new slivers, we're going to make a brief stop on Kamigawa. Kamigawa, of all places. And here we have a spirit, okay, the Dreamcatcher. And the reason we have this card in the collection, it's because there's a little sliver Easter egg in here, okay? So we have this spirit, the Dreamcatcher, is like catching the dreams of this person here. And if we get a closer look, we can see he's capturing dreams about phoenixes or spirits, dragons, right? And right here, that's a sliver. And I remember I actually read about this in one of the blog posts in the Magic, in the official Magic webpage. And yeah, they mentioned this, and that's how I know that there is a sliver in Kamigawa. Now, I need to pause the recording for a second, okay? I'll be right back. Alright, and I'm back, sorry about that. Actually, I have to make a correction, okay? This token, it's a gift, but I didn't get it when I bought the Sliver Overlord, okay? I got it when I bought the Muscle Sliver. I did get another gift with the Overlord, the Overlord, sorry, my pronunciation is terrible. And it was a Snowed Forest from Ice Age, so one of the original Snowed Forest, and I was very happy about it because I didn't have any snow lands. I did want to have one as well, just for collection's sake. And the seller was very, very kind and included one as a gift. Right, so this was the Onslaught block, okay? The next time we saw new slivers was in the Time Spiral block, one of my favorites. That's when I started playing, around that time. But before we go to Time Spiral, we're going to make a brief stop in the year 2005, and I'm going to show you some slivers that they are reprints, so we have already seen them, but you probably don't know about this expansion or this edition. And these are the Salvat Slivers. Okay, you can see here, white border and a little Pegasus icon. And these cards were not printed in English. Okay, these cards don't exist in English. They only exist in Spanish, in Italian, I think, and in French. And the reason for that is that this is something that Salvat, the publishing company that made some kind of deal with Wizards of the Coast. And they were like, well, we are going to print some Magic decks. It was 10 in Spain and France and 12 in Italy. So Italians actually got 2 extra decks from this collection. We're going to print decks in fascicles, in week by week, or I think it was bi-weekly. You got a fascicle with 12 cards of one of the decks, and you got 12 decks in the total, so that was 50 deliveries, 50 fascicles, and the 4th deck was a Slivers deck. I must say, well, I'm not going to get into much detail. Absolutely wonderful collection. That's how I actually started, how I got into Magic with the Salvat collection. And for the Slivers deck, they reprinted a bunch of Slivers from Legions now. Here we have the Magma Sliver. Hold on, let me make some room. There we go. The Blade Sliver. And another Blade Sliver. Now, these are not actually repeats. There is something really cool about these cards. It's going to be a little hard to see because of the reflection and because, well, the background is not helping. But if you look here, okay, here it says 2 out of 60. And here, the next one is 3 out of 60. So each card in a deck actually has its unique collector number. So each card is technically unique, even though you have several copies of each Sliver. Each of them is actually different. So I have 1 copy of each for them. These are not the original ones I bought, okay? I have them in an album. I have them stored. I actually bought new copies, so they would be near mint, because the ones I have, well, I have played a lot with them, so you can actually see a lot of dirt around the borders, and well, they have wear, you know. So again, we have Magma Sliver, Blade Sliver, Hunter Slivers, a couple of them, a Broad Sliver, really good sliver, like I have mentioned before, Root Slivers, Quick Slivers, okay, a Toxin Sliver. The deck was, I think it's Grixis, the name, black, red, and green. And then Spectral Slivers, a couple of them, Crypt Slivers, again a couple of them, and a few more Blade Slivers, Quick Slivers, the Riptide Replicator, which again, it's always so funny, Resaca. And again, another Crypt Sliver, Blade Sliver, and Hunter Sliver. So, I don't know, I guess if you are interested in it, I can show the whole collection. It's a really interesting piece of Magic history that didn't hit the American market. There was a sequel, by the way. In 2011, they made another collection. This time I think it was only in Spain. I don't think it was made in Italy and France. It was 12 decks, and unfortunately, it wasn't as good, okay? This collection is really, really good. Really fantastic decks, especially for if you are starting. Not that they are like... They are better than most precons that you find today as starter decks. They actually had really, really great cards. The sequel in 2011, not as good, unfortunately. But anyway, now for real, let's go to the Time Spiral block. One of my absolute favorites. Got reprinted recently, and we will get to that soon. This is actually the block that printed the most Slivers. in all of the history of Magic. And we start here with a Pulmonic Sliver. Pretty interesting effect. Gives flying, and you can put dead slivers back on the library, so it has a nice synergy if you have a way of casting spells with Cascade. Then this is the Puas. How do you say Puas in English? I will probably put the names in English somewhere around here during the video. Oh god, sorry, I don't remember the name of this sliver in English, but it's a very reactive sliver. The Sidewinder sliver gives flanking. Again, this is a blast from the past. Flanking had been unused for years now and is not coming back. Psionic Sliver. I love the design of this sliver. Again, this is a reference to Psionic Blast. Many slivers, since they can learn abilities or copy abilities from other creatures, they adapt the abilities from other cards and other spells, so this has this Psionic effect. And it's really nice if you combine it with Indestructible, actually a very dangerous sliver in that case. The Shrieking Sliver. Now, this is not a powerful sliver, but it's a very annoying one. And it's one that gets the most hate, I think. Whenever I play this, it's just complaints and complaints and complaints. It's a really funny sliver. And it always gets, it gets destroyed as soon as possible, always. Then we have the Shadow Sliver. Again, a reference to past abilities. All slivers have Shadow. Which in Spanish, by the way, it's called Vanishing. All slivers have Vanishing. And the Telekinetic Sliver. Again, very powerful sliver. In some situations, you can actually stun lock an opponent. You can tap anything with this sliver. So if you have enough slivers, you can just tap all the mana of an opponent and just prevent them from playing. This is a really, really dangerous sliver in that situation. If you have plenty of tokens, that's game, Basal Sliver, again references to past cards. Pretty interesting effect. You can sacrifice a sliver to add mana, so again you can prevent, it's a sacrifice outlet, and you can get huge amounts of mana with this effect. It's only black mana, so in a sliver deck it's not that useful, but if you have powerful magic with X in its mana cost, this one is actually pretty decent. And the Mind Whip Sliver. Now, this is probably one of the weakest slivers. The cost to activate its effect is pretty high, so you have to pay mana, you have to sacrifice a sliver, and then everybody discards, including you. The interesting thing about this sliver is that it has a playmat, okay? I remember I saw it in one of the professor's videos from Tolarian Community College. I don't know if I have mentioned this, but I actually followed his guides for the sleeves, and that's why I use these sleeves. So I saw in one of his videos that he has a playmat of this sliver, but when I was researching about it, I couldn't find it anywhere. It's not like something that Wizards has produced or that they have licensed. And from what I saw, I think the artist of the drawing made like a bunch of playmats, like 100 of them, and sold them to fans. And apparently that's how these playmats came to be. I don't have one, unfortunately, and I don't count those towards the collection because there are probably a lot of items like that, and if I start counting them, it's just going to be impossible to finish the collection. So I only count things that have been mass-produced by Wizards or someone with a license from Wizards. Then the Plague Sliver, and this is a sliver that a silver bullet against slivers. Okay, if you are facing slivers, you want to play this, and the owner of the slivers just dies from its own slivers. Obviously, you don't want to use that in your deck, but it's a very important card to have if you are facing slivers. Vampiric Sliver. Again, this is a reference to the Send Your Vampire, I think. It has the same effect of getting counters. Decent effect. Bone Splitter Sliver, +2 +0. Again, this is an upgrade of sorts of the Blade Sliver. And then we have the Fury Sliver. Double Strike, really powerful ability, but unfortunately it's a little bit high on the mana cost. But still, if you can drop this, the Slivers become a huge menace, even more than before. And the Sedge Sliver. Now, this Sliver is pretty interesting. It gives 2 abilities instead of 1. One of the few Slivers that does that, by the way. The Pulmonic Sliver was another one of them. And so it pumps the Slivers and lets them regenerate. And I remember this card used to be worth pennies, like literal pennies. I bought this like for 10 or 15 cents probably, and now it's actually a pretty popular card, so that's interesting. I mean, it's powerful indeed. I'm just a little bit surprised at that change. Then we have the 2-headed Slivers, of course. 2 heads, 4 legs, probably 4 tails, I think. How many it has? But yeah, it's like 2 Slivers in one. Gives them menace. Very solid Sliver. Fungus Sliver. Again, this one is a reference to another card, but I don't remember the name of the original card. It gives the same effect to Slivers. And an absolute gem of a Sliver. The Gemhide Sliver. Again, reference to the gemstone mines. It makes all your Slivers produce mana. Incredibly powerful effect. If this hits play, you want to kill it. It's just so powerful. Incredible Sliver. Might Sliver. Okay, this is like a bigger version of Muscle Sliver. Pretty straightforward. And the Spinneret Sliver, which gives them reach. And not a bad effect, but usually you are looking to give them flight directly instead of just reach. And here we have some more multicolor Slivers, which we haven't seen since Tempest, I believe. The Dementia Sliver. It has a very interesting effect, but I don't think it's very useful. It's the situations in which you can take advantage of this card are very few. Firewake Sliver. This one is a little bit more interesting. It gives haste and, again, a sacrifice outlet. Love the artwork, by the way. Absolutely amazing. I'm not saying much about the artwork because I'm trying to go by a little bit faster, but what can I say? You are seeing it here. It's incredible. Like this one. This one is one of my favorite Sliver drawings, the Ghost Flame Sliver. And again, pretty niche effect. All Slivers are colorless. Like, this is useful if you are facing that board wipe that makes you sacrifice everything that has a color. You can use this to counter that effect, but it's incredibly niche. Well, you can also bypass protection, I guess, so it's a little bit more useful than that, but still pretty niche. Harmonic Sliver. Probably one of the most played Slivers. Destroys artifacts and enchantments. Every Sliver destroys them when they enter the battlefield. Incredibly powerful effect. Lovely drawing. Like the drawing matches the colors of the card perfectly. This is something that I really like about Magic, like the way they convey through the art what the card does and what represents. It's incredible, really. And the Opaline Sliver. If you don't have crystalline Slivers, I think this is actually a really good alternative, because you get if you get a Sliver destroyed, you get a card back. So you lose a Sliver, but you get something back. Pretty solid effect, actually. This is not a Sliver that you should overlook. And then the Hivestone. All your Slivers and all your creatures are Slivers. Again, this is mostly used if you are mixing Slivers with some other things. This can be useful because everything gets the buffs from the Slivers. but you probably want to use this as a sliver counter. Okay, if your creatures also have the benefits from the slivers, you have that plus the actual effects of your creatures, so you probably get the advantage. And Venser Slivers. And yeah, this is one of the weaker slivers. You can play it in any deck, so again, you can use it like kind of a counter to slivers, but very expensive for not doing anything really. And then we have the Timeshifts Slivers, okay? There's only 2 of them. The Essence Slivers, the Essence Sliver from Legions, but you know, the purple icon. I love this little icon. And the Spine Sliver from Stronghold. Now we go to Planar Chaos, and here we have the Poultry Sliver. No, not poultry. Poultry. That's chicken. Is what was the name? Poultice Sliver. That's the name. Sorry. No, but it would be pretty funny to have a poultry sliver. Like, isn't there an effect like that? Like, it's a card that makes it makes a creature a 1/1 chicken without abilities, I think, right? So I guess the poultry sliver would do just that. All slivers are 1/1 chickens. Okay, so poultry slivers. This one, interestingly enough, it's like a worse version of the Crypt Sliver. Again, it gives them regeneration, but you also have to pay mana. So it's, yeah, I don't know, it's a little bit weird, interesting. Then the Tendon Sliver. This is the color shifted muscle sliver. Okay, that's why the frame is different. I love this artwork. It's so creepy and so amazing. What's this thing in the back of the slivers? Like, it's supposed to be the tail, but you can see the tail coiling around them. It's so strange. It's so unnerving. I love this dragon, and you can see their brains. I really love this sliver. Oh, and the Synchronous Sliver. Now, this one is an interesting sliver. It's part of a cycle. In Planar Chaos, there is, I think it's 1 for each color. So it's, they are pretty expensive sliver, as you can see. And each of them grants an ability that their color usually doesn't have. So this is a blue sliver and gives Vigilance. And what's more interesting is that this is the first sliver that grants Vigilance. There are only 2, and this is the first one. Okay, so Vigilance in blue, no, you don't really see that. So that's the point of this sliver. It's like it gives an unusual ability for its color. Oh, and the Spitting Sliver. This is the same concept, but for black, it gives them first strike. Now, some black cards have first strike. Yawgmoth's Demon has it, I think, and probably a few others, but again, pretty rare in black. Then the... what's the name of this one? Apaleador. The name of this one is, in English, Battery Sliver. Gives Trample. Again, nowadays, it's not that uncommon to see Trample in red, but still, back in the day, it was much more rare, and it's not that common still nowadays, but unfortunately, it's a 6 mana, so pretty expensive. Okay, so in Tempest, we have the Horned Sliver that gives Trample. Actually, hold on. Where is it? I don't think Give me a second. Where do I have Tempest? Here. Okay, so Horned Sliver, it's a green one. Where is my Horned Sliver? Did I leave it in the deck? Give me just a second. Okay. Yes, I had forgotten it. It was in the deck. So Horned Sliver, okay, from Tempest all the way back to 1996. Something I wanted to mention about this sliver is that it's still the best sliver at what it does. Okay, it gives Trample for 3 mana, and there is no sliver better than this one for getting Trample. Okay, I have remembered it because we have the Battery Sliver, which gives trample, but it's twice the mana, right? And there is another one for 7 mana that also gives trample. We will get to it later. But none have surpassed the Horned Sliver until now, which is really interesting because, as a general rule, most of the Tempest Slivers nowadays are... well, there are better versions, but this one still holds. This one, you want this sliver, interestingly enough. Okay. Also, I'm not telling many anecdotes for now because most of the pre-2015 slivers, I got them at once. So that's not when... I hadn't gotten really into collecting every single sliver, and I didn't know quite a lot about how the card market works. That's the European online secondary market. And well, I will get into the details later. I bought most of these slivers at once, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to the language I had them. Like, I didn't see if they were in English or Spanish, and I didn't pay a lot of attention to the grade of the card, if they were near mint or not. And I actually had to go back some years later and purchase again some of the slivers to have them in the condition I wanted for the collection. Okay, so that's the Battering Sliver. The Reflex Sliver, this is the green twisted sliver. It gives them haste. And haste is starting to creep onto green. It's not that rare anymore to see haste in green nowadays. But back then, again, not many green creatures had haste, if maybe a couple of them, but it was really, really, really rare. The Uktabi Drake from also the Time Spiral block, I think Planar Chaos, had haste, but it's like... it makes sense for how that card works, but really rare otherwise. And again, more multicolor slivers. Coterie Sliver, again a sacrifice outlet. Love the artwork, by the way, but the effects are not that good in my opinion. Now the Dark Heart Sliver, this one is pretty solid. Again, a sacrifice outlet, makes you get back some lives. Not an incredibly powerful effect, but it's a cheap sliver. It's a 2/2, so it can help a little bit in combat, and you don't have any other requisites for the sacrifice. You just sacrifice and get back life, so it can help preventing some exiles. Then the Dormant Sliver. This one actually I have it in my Arcades deck. Otherwise, well, it's interesting. If you have like a sacrifice outlet, you can get a lot of cards and then sacrifice this so you can attack again, because it also gives them Defender. And the meme sliver, the Frenetic Sliver, and I call this one a meme because the effect is pretty crazy. Again, it's taking its ability from the Frenetic's Ifrit. So you throw a coin. If you win the coin, you bounce the sliver. And if you lose the flip, you sacrifice it. And the reason this one is a meme, it's because most of the time I lose my coin flips with this sliver. I have it like a pseudo anti-wipe. And I remember one time, okay, I was playing against a friend in a... we were in the capital, I think, in some sort of restaurant or cafeteria. We had just have lunch, we were having the post-lunch game. And I was doing pretty well, okay? I had like 14 or 15 slivers in play. I was about to do the killing blow to my friend. And of course, he casted a board wipe, as you do. And okay, it's fine. I have my Frenetic Sliver in play. I will throw a bunch of coins, save about half of my slivers, and recover from there. So I throw the first coin for my commander, and it comes up heads. So the commander survives. Great. So I proceed to throw coins for everybody else, and I kid you not, I failed the coin flip 11 times in a row. I'm not even joking. Okay, I'm not the greatest coin thrower, so that probably had a lot to do with it, but I lost 11 times in a row. This little funny guy actually survived, so he saved himself. He saved the commander and one or two other slivers, but everything else I had to sacrifice. And it was insane. My friend was laughing his butt off. I could not believe it. I even changed coins, okay? Like after 6 or 7 failed throws, I changed coins and I still lost like 5 more coin throws. It was insane bad luck. And whenever I have to use this sliver, I lose like 75% of my slivers. This sliver is crooked. This sliver doesn't work. I love it. I love the artwork. I think it's amazing. I hate the effect. It has never helped me like it's supposed to. It's just this is the meme sliver. Oh god. Okay, and then another really powerful sliver, the necrotic sliver. You can another sacrifice outlet, but you can use it to destroy everything. So you get a 1/1, and it's a pretty powerful effect. Okay, now future sight. I must say, the future sight border, like for the future cards, I know it's tacky. It's a really tacky design, but I love it. I absolutely adore this design. I don't know. It's probably just nostalgia because like I've said, I started around this time, like Time Spiral, Ravnica, about that time. But I really love this design and really interesting abilities in these slivers. I don't think some of them are only printed in these cards, like Absorb 1. I don't think if there is another card with this ability. And unfortunately, I don't think we will see these cards again. You know, some cards from future sight have, like, the gimmick is that they come from the future. So they have been reprinted throughout the years. I don't think we will see this once. I would like to. It would be really cool to keep that theme of future sight, but the abilities are a little bit weird, a little bit tricky, and I don't think they will come back. But again, Absorb 1, I think it's only in this card, maybe another one. This is the Lymphatic Sliver, I believe. Then the Hypnosis Sliver or Hypnotic Sliver. It gives Fate Seal, and I know, again, this card has Fate Seal, and there is another card that has Fate Seal, but those are the only 2 cards that have it. Oh, the Vedalken Ether Mage. Now, the reason this is in the collection, it's because it actually is directly related to Slivers, okay? It says here, when the Vedalken Ether Mage enters the battlefield, return target Sliver to its owner's hand. So it's like some kind of counter to Slivers, and that's why it's here. Now, this is the Frenzy Sliver that gives Frenzy 1. Again, I think this is the only card with Frenzy. This is not a bad sliver, I think. It's actually pretty nice for pumping your slivers during combat. The Homing Sliver, and this one is really powerful. It lets you discard a sliver to search for another sliver. So you trade 1 for 1 and you can always get the sliver you want. Incredible. The drawing is so interesting. Like, this is the head, and it's like reflecting on something. It's trying to cast some spell. I don't know, it's such an interesting drawing for this sliver. It's like, it's a little bit more humanoid than the others, I think. And then the Poisonous Sliver. Pretty infamous one. It gives Poisonous 1. I think there are some other cards with Poisonous. So it gives slivers a secondary win condition. Okay, you can kill the usual way with just combat damage, but you can also kill with poison counters, which is really useful in some situations, and it's just 1 mana. So pretty powerful effect, I think. And of course, everybody's favorite, the Sliver Legion. The second this hits the battlefield, someone is going to die. Okay, you have to get rid of this immediately, or someone is going to die. The slivers become huge. This is the third legendary sliver, 5 colors, 7/7 again. That's the pattern usually. Yeah, legendary sliver. What can I say? The artwork, it's it's kind of what's the word? Bizarre. Like it's a little bit disgusting. I think you have this huge mass of slivers just breathing and fusing with each other. It's very grotesque. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't dislike. You can even see like half a sliver going out the mass. It's amazing. I don't dislike it, but it makes me a little bit uncomfortable, I have to say. And I actually have a really nice anecdote about this card. So this is one of the last cards that I bought. Okay, as you probably know, it's a little bit pricey. It's not something you can buy anytime. And up until recent years, okay, I haven't had really a lot of income. So I used to work I used to have a summer work. I went there every summer at a factory. I was in the reception. Now, during the break, I used to just go to the vending machine and buy some crap, okay? It's like half in the morning, so 11 in the morning or so, okay? I'm just going to get something to eat so I can hold out until lunchtime. And I will always get like a Coca-Cola and some snacks and chocolate things and healthy stuff. And I was like, one year, I think this was 2019, the summer of 2019. I guess, okay, I'm trying to eat better and I have to go to work at this place, this like other years. This is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take fruit from home and yogurts and healthy things like crackers and some more healthy stuff. And I'm not going to buy anything from the vending machine. And the money I save there, okay, I spent every day like 1.5 euros, usually more, like it was more like 2 euros, sometimes even 3. So that money I'm going to save, and at the end of these 2 weeks I will have enough money to buy a Sliver Legion. And that's what I did. So every day I made the effort. I was doing a lot more of sports and workout, and I started eating better. I stopped going to the candy store. I have a sweet tooth, so I go there. I used to go there often, so I stopped that, and I stopped buying crap at my work, and I saved the money. And I remember every day after work, I just went to my friends group and in WhatsApp, and I write, well, that's 2 more euros for the Legion. They didn't care. They probably thought I was going to join a cult or something, but yeah, I finished working, and with the money I saved, I bought the Legion, which the seller, by the way, was amazing. Another huge Sliver fan, super cool, and yeah, I got that card that way. So this Sliver is not just a really powerful Sliver, it's also an emblem of a change for the better. And the Sliver Smith, okay, an artifact creature that puts Sliver tokens. It's a really expensive effect, but again, it's related to Slivers, so here it is. Now, in the Time Spiral block, besides the cards, obviously, they also printed a pre-constructed deck out Slivers, which I have. Okay, it's here. Again, it's in Spanish. And as you can see, it's still sealed. And I got this one, again, like a year ago or so. I contacted the seller. He had like 10 of these for sale for a really good price, like almost the same price that it went for in 2007, and say, hey, I want to get one. Is it sealed? Can you send me some pictures? And he told me, sorry, I forgot to update the prices because obviously this is worth more now, especially if it's sealed. And but it's fine, okay. I will sell it to you for the original price, and then I will update everything. And he kept his promise. He sold me this beautiful piece for a really, really, really nice price. and then updated to double the price. So I kind of dodged a bullet there, which is, well, kind of a funny story. There's also sealed pre-constructed, well, there's pre-constructed decks also for Legions and for Tempest. The problem is I cannot find them in Spanish, and I don't want to buy them in English because, well, first of all, they are really expensive, okay, like the Legions deck. I mean, I could make a huge effort and get one, but I fear that if I buy one in English, someone is going to list another copy in Spanish, and I'm going to despise that, so I don't want to buy it in English. And the Tempest block, it's the Tempest deck the Tempest pre-constructed deck. It's incredibly expensive, with good reason. It's really old, and there are very few copies left. It's not in Spanish either. I mean, it was printed in Spanish, but there are not Spanish copies on sale. And it's not even sealed. And even if I were to buy one, like, let's say that I go crazy, I'm going to spend that much money in the deck, it's not sealed, and I don't want to buy just a box, okay? Because the cards inside, I already have them, so I would be paying a lot of money for what's essentially a beat-up box. So I don't think... I want these decks as pieces of the collection. So that would defeat the purpose. Hey, if you have a Spanish sealed deck from Tempest or Legions, let me know, okay? I would like to take a look at it. But okay, so that was Time Spiral. And the next set of cards are actually reprints. Okay, for a little while, Wizards made these special decks, the Premium Deck series, okay, in which they took some kind of creature or some kind of concept, and they made special decks, all foil cards, and sold them for a premium. Now, the cool thing about this is that some of the slivers in this deck had never been printed in foil up until now. So, for example, all of the Tempest slivers, like this one, the metallic sliver, this is the first time it's on foil. And we have the modern frame, right? So let's go quickly through these ones. Most of these ones I got from the Czech Republic. I'm not sure how it's pronounced in English, Republika Czeka. And the seller was, again, super cool. I bought, like, let's say there are like 20 slivers here, right? I bought 15 from him. He didn't have the other ones. And he actually took the time and effort of taking a picture of each of the slivers he had, front and back, and sent them to me. Okay, that's incredible. I was super grateful for that, because I was, by this time I had learned about how to buy and how to ask sellers about the cards. So he sent me the pictures. All the slivers were pretty much perfectly preserved. They're not even that bent, okay? Foil cards are infamous for getting bent. You can see there is a little bit, but that's normal with foils. They are very well preserved, near mint or even mint, I could say. And yeah, we have seen all of these already. Metallic sliver, virulent sliver. This wasn't printed in Spanish either, so they are all in English. Winged sliver. Let's do a little bit like the cloth sliver. Again, this one didn't exist in foil yet. Frenzy sliver. Heart sliver, again from Tempest. First foil version. Gem height sliver. Okay. Beautiful foiling. Muscle sliver. This one did have a foil version, as we have seen before. Quicksliver. The ones from Legions, I do believe they have foil versions. There are very few of them. They are extremely expensive, so that's why I don't usually get foils. And the foiling this is like tame in comparison. It's pretty intense. You can see the rainbow effects. But the foils from back of that era, like, they left you blind. Crystalline Sliver, again, the Friday night promos had a foil version of these ones. This one is new. This one is also new, I think. This one, I think you can find it foil in Time Spiral because it was time shifted. And again, this one didn't have a foil, and this one either. Incredible how this was an uncommon card back in the day. Spectral Sliver, very nice. Barred Sliver, the Dark Bramble Sliver. Homing Sliver with the new frame, which was just printed with the Future Sight frame, practically. This is like 2 years after Time Spiral broke, I think. Necrotic Sliver, which, by the way, has a very creepy face here. I didn't point out that before. Fanga Sliver, the Broad Sliver, Might Sliver, and the Sliver Overlord, which, again, it's in foil. I have talked about this sliver before, pretty powerful. A foil sliver Overlord from Scourge is actually very, very expensive. This version of the card is not that expensive. Sorry, excuse me for one moment. Okay, sorry about that. So, like I was saying, the Sliver Overlord, and the normal foil version is pretty pricey. And my favorite shop has it, unless the owner has sold it already, but I know he has one. I would love to have it, but it's really expensive, so I don't think I will get it. But it's a beautiful card, beautiful, powerful card. And the Fury Sliver. That's the last one of these. Now, I have a little anecdote about one of these cards. It's the Quick Sliver. Now, this is actually the last card I bought for the collection, and the reason for that is that I originally bought this one. This is one of the cards that the seller from the Czech Republic didn't have, so I bought this one from France. And something really strange happened. I bought it on Christmas of last year, and sure, mailing is usually slower on those days, so it was taking a little bit to arrive. I didn't pay much attention to it. I know how the holidays are, but we got to January, like the middle of January, and the card hadn't arrived still. So I tried contacting the seller, and it said that on the webpage, it said that he was on holidays, and that's strange. Like, he probably went on holidays a couple of days after he sent me this. And anyway, you have like a time frame to receive the cards you buy. Okay, I think it's like a month or a month and a half. And the date was approaching. I didn't have the card yet, so I tried contacting, didn't get an answer, and the card never arrived. So I had to buy this one again, and that's why it's the last one I got. I actually wanted to, well, usually the last card to be released would be the last one I would have bought. But in this case, I had this little issue. It's, by the way, the only issue I've had in 5 years in card market. Like, all of my other purchases have gone pretty much perfectly well. And if there have been any small issue, the sellers are always awesome and fix it as soon as possible. And this one is the first time I had an unresolved issue. But, well, it's a cheap card, so I bought it again, and that's about it. Okay. Now, a little bit after the Premium Deck series, Wizards of the Coast started paying attention to Commander, right? And they started printing cards for the Commander format. And one of the first things they printed, it's Commander's Arsenal, I think. They printed oversized cards. And thanks to that, we have this beauty here, the Sliver Queen, but an oversized Sliver Queen. Let me pull back the camera a little bit. Okay, let's remove the sign the best I can. There we go. A foil oversized Sliver Queen. Now, the Sliver Queen is part of the reserved list, okay? It's not going to get printed ever again, in theory. But they could print this thanks to an exception, okay? That doesn't include oversized cards that are not legal in tournaments. So they actually printed a Sliver Queen, And this one was a gift from my brother for Christmas. When I don't remember the year, I think 2020 probably. He came to me and, hey, I know you are collecting these things, I want to give one to you. And so we looked a little bit, and how about this one? It was affordable. I mean, it's nowadays most of the cards I'm showing here have spiked in price because there were very few copies in existence, or at least being sold. And I kind of hurried to get one copy near mint before I imagined this would happen. So this one was affordable, not super crazy price, not super cheap either, but something decent. And my brother came and, hey, okay, yeah, I will. Okay, this is your gift for Christmas. And he bought me this one. So that's very cool of him. Okay, now... So after Time Spiral, you will notice a pattern here. We didn't have any new Slivers for another 7 years, I think. So there's usually always a huge gap between new Sliver generations, right? From 97 to 2002 to 2007. The next one, we have an even longer gap. The next Slivers came in Magic 2014 and Magic 2015. They didn't print as many Slivers as before, like in Time Spiral, but all the Slivers in this expansion are absolutely incredible. Like, the power of these Slivers is amazing, okay? Most of these Slivers I use in my decks because they are just so good. I actually got back to the game around this time. I heard about the new Slivers. I hadn't played since Zendikar or so, I think. I stopped a little bit before Zendikar. I heard about the Slivers. I came back to the game and I bought most of the collection, like I have explained before. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. These Slivers, they changed the design, okay? And yeah, I don't like it. They are very humanoid. They look like Predator. Like, look at this one. It's just Predator. Slivers are such an icon of Magic. Like, there are many iconic things in Magic, but some of them appear in other games as well. Slivers are Magic's own thing. Like, these Slivers were made for Magic. And it's so weird that they changed the designs and such an iconic design to make them like some humanoid form, like kind of generic even. Obviously, they are not just generic, okay? Wizards actually put the effort into their designs and artworks, but it's just such a letdown. And the explanation is that these Slivers are not from Dominaria, like the other Slivers. They are from Chandalar, I think it's called. I think that's the plane. So they are like a different version of Slivers or whatever, but it's just... no. Give me back my classic Slivers. I don't like these designs. A few of them look more slivery than others, but I just don't like this design that much. I wish they reprinted these cards, but with the classic designs of these Slivers. But other than that, these Slivers are absolutely amazing, most of them. And they also... something that also... It irked me a little bit back then, but nowadays I think it's actually a change for the better. Slivers from now on don't affect all the Slivers in play. They just affect your own Slivers, right? So it's a little bit less crazy when you play Slivers against Slivers. And okay, that was another unique thing that Slivers had, but I get why they changed it, and I think it's fine. It doesn't bother me anymore. But yeah, the design, please reprint these ones in Magic 2022. I know you are not going to make more core sets for now, but reprint these ones with the classic art, please. I would love that. Don't make a secret lair. I don't have the money. Just reprint the Slivers, please. Bone Side Sliver. Your Slivers have double strike. This is an improved version of the red Sliver from Time Spiral. Really good Sliver. Okay, this is the regular version. And this is the foil promo version. which looks a lot like Predator. It's so distracting, sorry. But good sliver nonetheless. Hive Steerings, okay, this is a sorcery that puts sliver tokens. They actually look kind of classic slivers. They are a little bit more humanoid, but you can see them. You can see they are related, okay? And the alternative version, I think was also some kind of promo. Now, Sentinel Sliver, another incredible sliver for 2 mana, gives Vigilance, and this is the only other sliver that gives Vigilance, and it's just 2 mana and a 2/2. It's really fantastic sliver. I'm surprised there aren't any more slivers that grant Vigilance. Then Steel Form Sliver. This one is a little bit more average, but as you can see, it's like a Medusa, it's a zombie Medusa. I don't like the design, sorry. The artwork is excellent as always, but it's just not for slivers, you know. Now, Gale Rider Sliver. Absolutely insane sliver, okay? All your slivers have flying for 1 mana, so it's Wind Sliver, but better. Really beautiful artwork. I love the membranous wings with, you can see what is this called? Well, you can see all the details. It's like a really well drawn wings. You can see the hair, tentacles around here, and it doesn't look like a sliver other than the wings, but absolutely crazy sliver. This sliver goes in every deck. Now the Extractor Sliver, sorry. You get Lifelink, pretty solid effect, affordable sliver. Battle Sliver gives a lot of power to your slivers. It's a bit so. Again, it looks very Predator-like, like humanoid. They look like they come from Mirrodin. They are like very shiny and very metallic. It's not the sign of the sleeves, I swear. Now, Blur Sliver gives them haste. Is a little bit worse than the Hard Sliver, but not bad anyway. Then we have the Striking Sliver. So 1 mana for strike. As you can see, many of these slivers are like improved version of older slivers, and I think they did this maybe to appease sliver fans a little bit. Like, okay, we have changed the slivers, their appearance. Like, this one still has the claw, but it's just a human. Okay, we have changed them, but they are a little bit better. Okay, so you will still want these slivers. You know, there's a balancing act going on there. The Thorncaster Sliver. This one has great synergy with Death Touch, which we also have in these expansion sets. A bit pricey in mana, but interesting effect. Groundshaker Sliver. Again, this one gives trample. This is one of the exceptions. This one is actually worse than previous slivers with trample. And the Mana Weft Sliver. And again, absolutely incredible sliver. This is the Gemhide Sliver. I really like how it's using its tentacles to draw mana from the land. I think that's really cool. So it's Gemhide Sliver, but only affects you. So it's technically better. They pretty much do the same thing, but it's slightly better. You can have both if you want in Commander, so that's fantastic. Now that's the Megantic Sliver. So it's like the next step of the Might Sliver, which was the next step of the Muscle Sliver. +3/+3 makes slivers huge when it enters the battlefield. And it has a high mana cost, but I think it's a decent cost for its effect, and this goes really well with Cascade, which will become relevant a little bit later. And this is the foil promo of the Megantic Sliver. And here it looks like a trend or like an end, like it's just a wood elemental, right? And here it too looks like a tree predator. It's just, it has camouflage. Then the Predatory Sliver, and again this is Muscle Sliver, but only affects your side of the board, so technically slightly better, and you can have both. Great. And the Sliver Construct, again it's like an improvement on Venser Sliver. And the tokens, we finally get official mass-produced Sliver tokens. They don't look like slivers, but we at least have them and we can use them in game. Oh, and again, this one I think it's a variant of the token. This one looks even more like like a science fiction movie. And it was some kind of player reward. Again, I don't remember its origin very well, but it's nice that you have two variants. Now we move to 1 year later, Magic 2015. Magic 2014 Slivers and Magic 2015 Slivers, they are a continuation. And all of the Slivers in this expansion in Magic 2015 are incredible, in my opinion. I have all of them in my Commander deck. We have the Strangling Sliver, no, the Asphyxiation Sliver. Sorry, I don't remember the exact name. Constricting Sliver. Again, 6 mana, but each Sliver exiles something from your opponent, a creature from your opponent when it enters the battlefield. Very powerful effect. Really, really good. Now, this is the Diffusor Sliver. This one gives Worth 2 to all your Slivers. So again, if you don't have the Crystalline Sliver, this one is a pretty good replacement. It's also 2 mana. And you can also have both. So if you're playing Commander, especially if you don't draw a Crystalline Sliver, this one will do the trick, at least for a little while. And then we have the Leech Sliver. Again, pretty powerful effect, I think. Your opponents lose life whenever you attack, so it's free damage, essentially. The Belligerent Sliver. This is a variation of the Two-Headed Sliver. Again, it gives menace. This one is, I guess you could say it's a little bit worse. It looks like it has a lion's mane, probably intentional, obviously. And the Venom Sliver gives Death Touch. Incredibly powerful effect. It's half the mana than Toxin Sliver, which has a similar effect from Legions. So really, really good. And of course it has like and Scorpion Stinger. Pretty nice. I love the ambient text in this one. We attacked with poisonous arrows. No, we attacked with arrows dipped in poison. The slivers that didn't die start to change. So that here we have the main one of the main abilities of the slivers in action, that they adapt to what the dangers they find. And the legendary sliver of these expansions, the Sliver Hive Lord. Again, 5 colors, 5/5, and this one breaks the mold. It's not a 7/7, which again it's why is this one a 5/5? I read the explanation. I think they thought that making everything indestructible and also making this guy a 7/7 was too much. Like they had to nerf it some way, and they chose to make it a 5/5. But now when you have all the 5 legendary slivers together, this one sticks out. It irks me a little bit. I don't really care that much. Making everybody indestructible, it's insane. But it's a 5/5. I don't know. It's always going to be there. And then we have the Sliver Hive. So the slivers finally got their own land. So it adds mana of any color. You can put sliver tokens. The ability to put tokens, it's incredibly expensive, but it's really good that you have mana of any color, because that's what you want with slivers. And with this land, I actually got a little gift. The Sliver token. Okay, this, again, they printed them for Magic 2014 and Magic 2015. And this token was a gift. The girl that I bought this from. By the way, I have an entire playset of this because they were pretty cheap back then and I could afford to have 4 of them. Nowadays they are not so cheap, unfortunately, but so you have a land that puts Sliver token, so the girl go and, have a Sliver token, and that was really, really sweet of her. And I think she was also a big Sliver fan. So that's really nice. It's always great when you meet another fan of the things you like, of course. And okay, so we had a small reprint of the Riptide project Survivor in Commander 2013, I think this is. And again, this card, we have a Sliver here in the background. Very nice. So again, after this, we didn't see Slivers for quite a while. I think this was 2013, 2014. The expansion sets were actually 1 year ahead. So we didn't have new Slivers until 2019, okay, in Modern Horizons. And again, I stopped playing after a little while, after Magic 2015. But I came back for the new Slivers, and this time I have stuck. I have been playing since 2019, the end of 2019, thanks to the new Slivers. Now, before we get to Modern Horizons, there's actually a little special card, which I love, and it's one of my absolute favorites. This reprint of the Sliver Legend. This one was, again, a Judge Reward promo. This one was given to level 2 judges, and I got it from Portugal. Okay, I contacted a level 1 judge. He had this card for sale, and he explained me, I didn't know what these were at the beginning, okay? I saw this reprint, absolutely amazing reprint. I love the artwork, okay? If I get the sign, it's an actual Sliver Legion, okay? It's not that unnerving, breathing mass. You have a giant sliver, medium slivers, tiny slivers. The artwork is astounding. I absolutely love the artwork of this card. It's foil, beautiful, beautiful foil. I love it, shiny, and it's an incredible sliver. It's one of the most powerful slivers, probably. And so, I contacted this Portuguese guy, and that's the telephone. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So what was I saying? This level 1 judge from Portugal, he told me, I didn't get this card directly, but I traded it with a level 2 judge, and now I'm selling it. I no longer want it. So hey man, I will be very happy to take it from you. Again, this one is a little bit more pricier. I think this is one of the... I don't want to talk about money. It's not the point of this video, but I was a little bit stupid with this card because when I was buying the original Sliver Legion, I told the anecdote already, this card and the original and this reprint, they were going for about the same price, okay? I was stupid because I thought, I'm not in a hurry to get the reprint. I don't even have the original version, so I'm not going to get the reprint yet. Again, the telephone, sorry. Okay, sorry. So, I was a little bit stupid because I didn't have the original yet. And I thought, I will get the original first, and then I will get the reprint. I really wanted to have this one, but I don't know. I was just stupid. So I got the original one. Not that I regret it, of course. But soon after that, this version of the card skyrocketed in price. I think it went to triple the price. And I actually had to pay that price when I finally got this card. I didn't get it that long ago, actually. I think it was a year after I got the original. So I had to beat the bullet and pay, save some money and pay a little bit for this one. But after that, we go. Let me make some room. Everything is full of slivers around here. You couldn't believe it. Okay. So finally, we go to Modern Horizons 1. And something interesting about this expansion, the slivers don't have a story here. There's no story to tell about the slivers or what happens in Magic 14 and Magic 15. I think there's some kind of story, but I don't know it really well. It's not part of the main story, but basically there are slivers there and they give trouble to whoever is trying to explore the plane. Here they don't have story, but there is something really interesting going on, that the Slivers in this expansion have abilities from exclusive to planes we have seen before, and the Slivers with those abilities, they match the art style, and they actually are in the plane they belong to. So here we have the Resistant Sliver. It gives Outlast to all Slivers, okay? Outlast is an ability from Tarkir, I think. And effectively, if we look at the artwork, this is Tarkir, okay? The deserts from Tarkir and the art style from Tarkir. So this Sliver is actually from Tarkir. And that has huge implications because it means that Slivers have propagated outside of Dominaria. Like, they are not native to Dominaria either. Volrath took them there. He took them from the original plane. We don't know which one is that, although we can speculate in a little bit. And yeah, so we don't know where they come from, but apparently they have expanded outside of Dominaria. So what's going on here? Because this is a Sliver from Tarkir. Then we have the first Slivers chosen. It gives Exalted. Again, this is an ability from Alara. And indeed, this looks like Alara. I love the design of this Sliver. We have gone back to the original designs, by the way, which I'm very glad they didn't keep doing the Slivers from Magic 2014-2015. So gorgeous Slivers. This one is incredible. I love the design. I love the metallic look. It's really, really cool. And apparently this is a Sliver from, again, the plane of Alara. Then we have the Lancer Sliver. A pretty average Sliver. It gives first strike. We have better versions, but amazing artwork, of course. The Scutling Sliver. And this one, I'm not sure if it's from a different plane. I mean, this is probably Dominaria, but I'm not sure. The ambient text kind of implies that it's like an old fossil, so either this is their original plane or it's Dominaria. An interesting effect, it lets you untap Slivers, so you can make some nasty things with this effect. Then the Dredgescape Sliver. Again, the Dredgescape is a place in Alara, I think, and it gives Unearth to your Slivers, which it's an Alara ability. Beautiful beautiful artwork, like always. Sorry, I'm getting my tongue twisted. English is hard. Pretty powerful Sliver. What I like about this Sliver is that it gives your Slivers recursion. You can get them back from the graveyard, which it's something they are missing. There aren't any Slivers other than this one that lets you get back Slivers. And I think that's on purpose. It would probably make Slivers too powerful if they had some kind of recursion, and they also don't have hexproof, and I imagine the logic is the same. If they make a hexproof Sliver, it's going to be the next legendary one, that's for sure. Then we have Return from Extinction, and this is, ironically enough, a spell to get back Slivers from the graveyard. We have the two Slivers here rising from the dead, and a quote: "The first Sliver calls, the dead rise." So really, really nice card. Then we have the Bladeback Sliver. This one is on the weaker side. I haven't used it, but it reminds me a little bit of the Tendon Sliver with this. Well, in this case, it has a blade, okay, but like I mentioned before, the Tendon Sliver had some sort of spike coming out of the back. Yeah, they are related in that way, I guess. A little detail I noticed is nothing relevant, really. Now, this is the Serrador. Serrador Sliver, yes, of course. This is called... what? This Serrating... No, the Woodcutters? No, it's not a Woodcutter Sliver, it's... Oh god, sorry, I don't remember the name of this one again. I will try to put it here. But it's a callback to the Battle Sliver. It makes the same effect, +2 strength, power, +2 power. And then the Hollowhead Sliver, and this one is actually really good. Okay, it lets you discard a card to draw a card. Well, each sliver can tap to do that effect. This is classic red card draw. And it's very good that it's on a sliver because, like I have mentioned way at the beginning, not many slivers give you card draw. So this one is really useful if you're going for a completely thematic deck. Then Spiteful Sliver. This one is actually pretty interesting. You can do some nasty things with this one. It returns damage. Okay, it's like Thorny Caparas in video games. Pretty powerful effect. Incredible design. I love it with the 4 arms, and you can actually see it's kind of spiteful. You can see it in the face. In Spanish, it's called Malévolo, which is not so much spite as ill intentions. So the meaning is slightly different, but I get why they would change the word a little bit. Otherwise, the translation would be very wonky. So pretty well adapted, I think. Now the Tempered Sliver, and the interesting thing about this sliver, I think this is mirroring, right? So obviously the sliver is made out of metal. It has this kind of mirroring aesthetic in which the metal is like scrapped together, it's put together, it's not something refined, and that's very mirroring-like. And here in the background, again, these are like trees, but molten trees. I'm pretty sure this is mirroring, so apparently there are slivers in mirroring, and that would actually make sense, okay? Because Dominaria and mirroring, they are kind of linked together, so it wouldn't be super crazy to have some slivers hop from one plane to the other. And then we have this absolute beast. I cannot believe they made this sliver, the Cloud Shredder sliver, for 2 mana. Your slivers have flying, and haste. This is absolutely insane. This puts to shame the winged sliver, and probably the Gale Rider sliver too. I mean, those are blue, so you have an argument going on for them. You probably want the 3 of them. It's not like having this sliver makes the other ones obsolete, but this is absolutely insane. It's the winged sliver and the hard sliver together in one. It's just crazy. I mean, if they're going to print something like this, the artwork, by the way, love it. Absolutely incredible. So there's so much artistic craftsmanship and talent going on here with the sun going through the ridges and the design of the sliver, and it really conveys the speed of this sliver so well. The sliver is amazing. The artwork is incredible. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic sliver. And if they're going to print a sliver like this, I hope they print like a white and a green sliver, again a 1/1, but instead of flying and haste, it gives vigilance and trample. Okay, we need more vigilance and more trample, so make the Tower Crusher sliver, and it's just vigilance and trample for everybody, of course. It would be as crazy as this one, so maybe they will do it in Modern Horizons 3 or whatever. We're going back to Dominaria, by the way, this year. Later this year, we will have a new Dominaria expansion. It's too soon to have new slivers. Like, if we follow the pattern up until now, it's only been 2 years. Well, not even 3 years, 2.5 years. So usually they wait more to make new slivers, but since we're going to Dominaria, and that's the original quote unquote, well, the plane they are most well known for, will there be new slivers? I mean, I would love new slivers. I love slivers, obviously, but at the same time, I hope they don't print new slivers. It's a bit too soon, and also now there's like 3 different versions of each card. So as a collector, it's kind of crazy to try to get each version of each card. So in that regard, I hope they don't make new slivers, because it's going to give me a lot of work. But we will see. And anyway, let's move on. I think now it's the start of the set. The first Sliver. I absolutely love this Sliver. This Sliver is the most insane Sliver. Like, this Sliver, it's crazy, okay? This is crazy powerful, but this one, the first Sliver, the implications of being the first Sliver, of course. Again, legendary, 5 colors, 7/7s. Well, we are going back to the classics. Cascade. And all of your Slivers have Cascade. I remember when I read this, like, I learned about the new Slivers. I saw this one, and I was like, impossible. They have not printed this. This is absolutely, completely crazy. This is crazy powerful Cascade. And the best part is, this is exactly the Sliver I was looking for, because when I play Slivers, I've always been a very casual player, okay? And my play group is very casual. So usually I play Commander and I would use the Overlord Sliver, but I got tired of the Overlord because, yeah, he's powerful, but all the games are the same. You cast the Overlord, you fetch for the Crystalline Sliver, then you fetch for the High Floor Sliver, then you fetch for the Shifting Sliver, and that's about it, okay? If you do that, you win the game. It's always the same. I don't like that. I enjoy Commander because of the variance. And the High Floor Sliver, really powerful effect, really boring effect, okay? Everybody's indestructible. Okay, so I turtle up until I get enough Slivers and then I start attacking. This is perfect. So you get a million Slivers. It's a chain reaction of Slivers. It's so fun. It's amazing. And it's different Slivers each time, and it also has that really funny factor in which maybe you cast a Constricting Sliver and you cascade into the Sliver Legion, and then the Shifting Sliver, and then the Horn Sliver. You get like a perfect cascade, and for 6 mana you get 6 Slivers into play, and they suddenly become unstoppable. But there's also the other side of the coin, in which you cast a 6 mana Sliver, like maybe a Megantic Sliver, and then you get a Metallic Sliver, and that's... I cannot help but laugh when that happens. It happens also a lot. Like, this is a little bit of a meme, like the Frenetic Sliver, but it's so good. It's amazing. Every game is unique. This is my favorite Sliver by far. Like, it's absolutely insane. Absolutely... Oh, I cannot express how much I like this card. It has been my commander ever since. Like, for 2 years, I have not changed the commander in the deck, because this one is just so good. Okay, and recently I got a Helm of the Host. I bought a Dominaria pack because I didn't have any. Again, like, since I stopped playing from 2015 to 2019, I missed many of the expansions, so I went like, okay, here are some cheap packs. I will buy 3 of some of the expansions I have missed. I got the Helm of the Host, and that thing equipped here, you start putting copies of the first Sliver, the cascades start to stack, and at that point you just give up. Like, not your opponents give up, you give up, because you cannot keep track of all the cascades that cascade into each other. It's just for show. Okay, I equip the Helm of the Host, and then I concede the game because I'm not going to do all that math. So this one is so good. Oh, incredible. Like, how can they top this? How can they top the first Sliver? First is the first Sliver. And again, Cascade is an ability from Alara, so Slivers come from Alara, apparently, right? This is their original plane. So we have a little bit of lore there. We don't have a story per se, but we have the lore. How can you top this Sliver? It's not possible. Like, if they make... Okay, the next legendary Sliver, like I said before, hexproof, right? All of your Slivers have hexproof. 5 colors, 7/7, okay. Yeah, that's really powerful. Everybody is going to want that Sliver, and everybody is going to hate playing against that Sliver. But it's so boring. It's like indestructible. You cannot top this. How do you make a better Sliver than this one? This is the definite Sliver, in my opinion. It has everything going on for it. It's just astounding, incredible. I cannot believe they made this. It's wow. This one is hard to believe. Like, okay, this is power creeping, but this is just... How? I love it. Sorry, I'm going to stop talking about it now. It's just incredible. Let's continue, sorry. The Lava Belly Sliver, okay? A pretty solid Sliver. You gain life, you do some damage. Not bad, I like it. I actually have in my commander deck. And then we have this, which is something that I really like. They have started putting extra artwork cards, like you have this on top of the cards you normally get. They don't replace anything. And you have like a large version of the art of some cards. So we have the Lancer Sliver, then Urine Sliver, the first Slivers chosen, and the Dreadscape Sliver. And this is fantastic. I love that they do this now. Something I have always kind of missed is having large versions of the artwork of cards, because in Magic the artwork is always awesome, obviously. And they started, well, it was a little bit more rocky, but the artwork is awesome. And you can find the large versions of the pictures online, but I really like that they print now a physical version of cards you like, and you can have like this. Okay, these ones are also in sleeves, and they are in Spanish, okay? So fantastic. Now, I'm going to make a brief pause here, okay? I will come back later. I think my cell phone is, well, it's running out of battery and probably out of space also. So I will come back a little bit later and continue with the remaining slivers. So don't get too worried if you see a little lightning chase. Not chase, sorry, lightning change. And I'm back. Okay, before I continue, let's go back for a moment to the first sliver, okay? Because I actually have a little story about this card. Now, when I learned about the Modern Horizons slivers, I had stopped playing for a while. These ones actually made me go back to the game. And I don't remember this detail very well, but either I learned about the slivers and the next day I went to my closest game store to buy them, or I learned about them at the store and bought them on the spot. At any rate, I was so excited that I bought them in English, and I didn't even realize until later. So I had to go back and buy them in Spanish for the collection. Anyway, I bought all of them in Spanish again, except this one. This one I actually traded, so I no longer have an English first sliver. I do have all of the others in English. I have plenty of slivers in English, I'm just not showing them. But yeah, there's one, I traded for it one day when I was at my favorite game store. Okay, it's near my grandparents' house, so I go there with a friend when I go to visit them. And I love the owner. He's an older man, okay? He's probably close to retirement. Maybe not as much as I think. He might look a little bit older than he actually is. But I love the owner of that store. It's absolutely wonderful store. It's not very big, but the prices are absolutely excellent, and the inventory is great. So he had one of this card in the binder. So I was talking to him. Oh yeah, what slivers do you have? So on. So oh hey, the first sliver in Spanish. Oh, and I told him the story. I have one in English, and I'm looking for one in Spanish. And he went, oh yeah, I will trade it. And he didn't even bother checking the grade of my sliver. I mean, it was a mint sliver pretty much. I don't care. Just take the Spanish sliver and give me the English one. He values them at the same, like there's no difference in price. So hey, I just took this one and gave him the one I had. So this one is actually traded, which is pretty rare, but because I almost never trade. I think I've only traded for this card and for the broad sliver I mentioned before. And I hope I can get back to that store soon. I don't get to go often, but I always have a blast there. I just love the owner and the store. Anyway, after Modern Horizons, we enter what I call the reprints era. reprints for Slivers, obviously. Now, the next time we got Slivers, they were in the mystery boosters. And so it's pretty cool because they reprinted a bunch of Slivers here, but they kept the original expansion logo and the frame, okay? And they simply have this little mark here, so you know that they come from the mystery boosters. So these ones won't take a lot of time since we have seen all of them, or most of them already. We have a Toxin Sliver, a Venom Sliver, the Sliver Hive Lord, okay, was reprinted, which is pretty neat. And then we have these foil Slivers, okay, so they had like 3 separate type of cards in the mystery boosters. They had the regular ones, then they had a bunch of them that were only foil, which is these ones. So the Sinew Sliver, I called it a Tendon Sliver before. The Mana Weft Sliver, and the Harmonic Sliver, right? And then they had this special type of cards, the playtest cards. Now, there were 2 printings of these ones, okay? I have both of them. The first printing has the little icon here, the Planeswalker icon. And the second version is just the card without the icon. And I actually have... I bought... So, well, let's show all of them first so I can explain the story. We have the Banding Sliver. All Slivers have Banding. And of course, the line of reminder text is... there is more text here, more reminder text here than actual rules text in most cards, right? Both versions. Then we have Sleep Missed, the Hive Mind. So this is a mix of Niv Mizzet, the popular character, it's a very well-known character, and Slivers. So interesting concept. This means also that there would be Slivers in Ravnica, but obviously this is just a joke card, right? Version 1, version 2, right? And then this absolutely monstrosity, like its namesake, the Slivdrassi monstrosity, which is a Sliver Eldrassi. Of course, you take probably the 2 most hated tribes and put them together. It's an 8/8 for 1 mana of each color and a colorless. And of course, Eldrassi are Slivers, and Slivers annihilate. And you can put tokens just because, of course. Why wouldn't this card put tokens into play? The artwork is amazing, by the way. I mean, these ones are obviously like... They were made more in a rush, perhaps, but the person who made the artwork for the Slivdrassi monstrosity, perhaps they had more practice or more time, and it's actually a pretty neat, what's the name of boceto? Yes, it's a pretty nice boceto, a sketch. That's the word I'm looking for, right? And again, version 1. And version 2. Now the original versions, right, the one with the Planeswalker icon, where are they? Here they are. So I bought these 3 at the same time, right? And I actually dodged a huge bullet with these 3. I learned about them a little bit after they were printed, okay? And these ones were you could only get these cards in the special boosters that Wizards gave in conventions and in tournaments. Right, so I looked up these cards and I saw the price, and the price was a little bit steep. Like, I would have to have made quite a bit of effort, okay? I didn't have a lot of money at the time, so it was quite an effort to get these cards. And at first I went... This was March of 2019, by the way, which is relevant. I went, okay, the last tournament was in Paris, I think. Next summer, there's going to be one in Valencia. That's in Spain, so I will wait until summer. And once they give out these cards in Valencia, they will be cheaper because there will be more. And the shipping costs will also be a little bit lower. Usually, you spend less money if you have a package from a national package and not an international one. There's not a lot of difference, but you can save some money. But the important part was that there was going to be a tournament in Valencia. The thing is, I really liked these cards, and I was like, okay, I'm like, I would have to make an effort, but I think I'm going to get them, okay? I found a seller in France, so these ones came from France. And he had all the three of them. I contacted them, hey, can you give me some details about the cars and so on? So they sent me, I don't think they sent me photos, but they have several copies, and they told me, hey, we will send you the mint ones we have. All of them are pretty much mint, but we will make sure you have the best versions of the card, which was really cool, of course. And yeah, I made the effort and got this. And the reason I dodged the bullet is because I think in April of like 1 month later or so, it's when the lockdown started. So all the events were cancelled. These cards were never printed again, or they were never. Well, they didn't give out this version of the cards again, and the prices skyrocketed, and they went to insane prices. They went back again some months ago when they reprinted the second versions, which makes sense, of course. But they are still really, really expensive, and there are so very few copies of the first version of this card. So I got incredibly lucky there. I'm very glad I made the effort at the time. And sure, I had to spend some money, but otherwise I probably wouldn't have these cards otherwise. So that's kind of an interesting story. And the second version of the cards, they were printed in larger amounts, and they are available to everybody. So yeah, they command a decent price, but it's not something unobtainable. You know, you can actually get these cards if you really want to. Right, and now we move on to the first secret layers, and I love this printing of this Sliver Overlord. So I actually got the secret lair. It was Kaleidoscope Killers, and I absolutely loved the artwork. I loved, well, of course, I had a Sliver in it, but also I had the Ur Dragon and the Reaper Kings, which I love. 5-color cards. I love the Ur Dragon. The Reaper King, I wanted to have it for a little while. It wasn't that important to me, but I liked it a lot. And yeah, I got the secret lair for Christmas. I think it came out in October, and I actually got it in time for Christmas. And here it is, stunning artwork. I love the psychedelic colors, the foiling, everything. And I got an extra card with this. It was Nicol Bola's Dragon God. I don't know if it's the same card for everybody, but that's the one I got, and I was really happy about it because it was the one that of the extra cards, it was the one I liked the most. And okay, am I missing something? I don't think I am. Oh well, this one's the version 2 of the mystery booster cards. This one's I got from Italy. Right. Oh, yes. And then we move on to the list. Again, these are the extra cards that you can find in set boosters. Some of them included Slivers, and I simply got them. Again, they have the original icon and the Planeswalker symbol. So we have the set Sliver, the Muscle Sliver. And funny thing about this one, I actually bought 2 by accident, because when I bought the first one, I forgot to put it on my checklist. So when I went to buy Slivers the next time, like I used to buy every month, like a few of them, like, so I would be buying them little by little, step by step. And so I bought this card, and the next month I went to my checklist. Oh, I don't have this one. Okay, I will get it this month. And I already had it, so I have 2 copies now. And the Crystalline Sliver. Very well. Oh, hold on. Ah, yes, of course, and another reprint, okay. Oh no, sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. This is also from the list. So the Necrotic Sliver with the original Planar Chaos symbol. Now, last year we got Time Spiral Remastered, and again, these are all reprints from Time Spiral. There are less. This isn't the full list of slivers from Time Spiral. They didn't reprint the blue and the black slivers, so we only have the white, the red, and the green ones. We have seen these ones already, so I will go through them quickly. We have the Lymphatic Sliver, we have the Poultice Sliver, Pulmonic Sliver, Sidewinder, Sinew Sliver, Watcher Sliver. I love the icon for Time Spiral Remastered, just a little tilted hourglass. It's nice. It's a take. It's another take on the original symbol and pretty elegant, I think. Again, Battering Sliver, Bone Splitter, Fury, Homing, Set Sliver. Again, it was reprinted recently in the list. Two-Headed, Fungus, Gemhide. Again, this is an unskippable sliver. You want this sliver. Might Sliver, Reflex Sliver, Spinneret Sliver. I got these ones mostly from Spanish stores, so I simply asked if the cards were near mint, and I got them, and they were just printed. Well, there's actually I actually bought some boosters for Time Spiral Remastered, so I actually pulled some of these out of boosters myself. I will go back and tell you which ones in a second. Okay, Poison Sliver. I think this one actually... No, I didn't get this one. Cautery Sliver. Dark Heart Sliver. This one is one of... This is one of the slivers I got from boosters. Dormant Sliver. Firewake. Harmonic Sliver. Necrotic Sliver, of course. And the Sliver Legion. And I must say, the Sliver Legion looks so good with the new frame. I mean, it's not much different, but this little crown here really adds a lot to legendary cards. And of course, the Hivestone and the Sliversmith. And along with the Sliversmith... Oh, well, no, we have a special card. So we have the tokens for the Sliversmith. Okay, I was along with the Sliversmith. We have the Sliver tokens, which we didn't have in the original Time Spiral, and the original. Sorry, oh my god, the original Time Spiral. Okay, and I'm very happy we got it here. And yeah, they actually made a callback to time-shifted cards from the original Time Spiral. And they time-shifted cards again, this time from going from the original Time Spiral to the present, I think. And they reprinted the Cloud Shredder Sliver with the old frame. And I must say, it really fits well, the Cloud Shredder Sliver. It looks really, really nice. And yeah, the token. Okay, I need to turn on the light. Just give me a second. There we go. Now I'm not going blind. And we have the final slivers from Modern Horizons 2. Ooh, my hand is so white. Okay. The actual main set of Modern Horizons didn't have any slivers, but again, they time-shifted some cards from Modern Horizons 1 into Modern Horizons 2, and they gave them the old frame. And there aren't many slivers time-shifted, but we have some very important ones. So the first sliver, And I actually got both versions of the card, right? So the time-shifted versions, I think they only exist in foil, but they had two different foil treatments. The classic foil, this one, and the etched foil, which is not really noticeable, I think, because of the... Hold on, can you focus, please? Okay. Yeah, I don't think you can really notice it. It's the etched foil, it's like this more metallic finish. You can actually see it shine if it weren't for the sleeve. So unfortunately, I cannot show you the details here. I think you can notice that the card has the texture is a little bit more grainy, and that's part of the effect of the etched foil treatment. And yeah, so since there's no regular version for this, hold on, can you focus? There we go. So since there's no regular treatment, I made the effort to get both versions, but otherwise I would have just gotten the non-foil version. It's not that I don't like foil cards, I love them, but usually they are a little bit more expensive, so I don't go out of my way to get them. By the way, these cards, especially these ones, the traditional foil treatment, there are so few of them in Spanish, like it's incredible. Apparently, most people are just opening Modern Horizons 2 in English. And when I tried to get these cards, I know there are only 3 or 4 of these, or at least there were only 3 or 4 listed. But I think there were also very few etched foils in Spanish. So that's a little bit weird, and it was a little bit tricky to find the cards in Spanish, but yeah, in the end I managed. And then we have also the Lava Belly Sliver. And again, I have the regular version and the etched foiled. And then another extra card. They printed for the Forgotten Realms Commander decks. They printed a Necrotic Sliver. It made sense in the deck, so they had a copy here. And finally, the most recently printed Sliver. It's the Sliver Hive Lord from one of the most recent Secret Lairs. Astounding artwork, but I didn't get the Secret Lair this time because they released the Secret Lair around Christmas, and I had spent... No, it wasn't Christmas, it was summer, I think. Yeah, it was the summer holidays. I was actually in holidays when they announced this Secret Lair. And it's, you can make an effort to get the Secret Lairs, but they are not exactly cheap always, and then you have to factor in shipping costs. So I didn't get it because I was spending a lot of money for the holidays, and I just couldn't I couldn't get it. Also, unlike with Kaleidoscope Killers, I didn't care that much about the other cards in the Secret Lair. Like, they are cool kites. You had the Spells Kite, and what were the 2 others? Well, you had like 4 or 5 cards, cool cards, but I only wanted the Sliver Hive Lord. And again, I was a little bit tight on money, so I just waited. I waited until this was released, and I bought it from France again. So I bought this from a French seller, which again, he was a very cool seller, and he sent me the card really, really fast, actually. It arrived in just a couple of days. Okay, so before I show you some of the extra stuff I have, like not cards, I'm going to show you some other cards real quick. I have some foils, okay? Not many, but I have a few. I will go quickly over them. So I have from Time Spiral, the Ghost Flame Sliver. I really, really like the foil treatment in this card. It's a little bit hard to see with the reflection and everything, but it's really cool, and it's kind of a very intense foil treatment. I really, really like the foil in this card. Then this one I bought in my favorite local game store. It has a little white spot here, but it's okay. I don't mind that for cards that are not in the main collection, let's say. And yeah, this foil is actually really intense. This is you cannot, in the camera you cannot tell the difference that much, but if you look at them in real life, and the foiling in this card is intense. Okay, it's blinding almost. It's the old style of foiling cards, and it's pretty crazy. And then here I have a Pulti Sliver, Synchronous. Oh, this one was a gift, actually. This Frenzy Sliver. I don't remember who gifted it to me. It was one of the stores to which I think I bought the normal version, and they gifted me the foil version. And this one also, I think it was a gift. Then Battle Sliver, Striking Sliver. This was the only version I had of the Striking Sliver when I bought all of them back in 2015. This is the one I bought, and I actually took a lot of time to get a normal version. So Groundshaker Sliver, then Duodin Sliver. Oh, for Modern Horizons, I actually got most of them. They are worth pennies, they are dirt cheap. So I took the chance and bought all of them except obviously the first Sliver, because that's actually a really expensive card if you get it in foil. And I think the Spiteful Sliver and the Cloud Shredder Sliver, I didn't get them either because they were a little bit more pricey, and this was just like a nice bonus, you know. I wasn't really going out of my way to get them. So Return from Extinction, Bladeback, a Cleaving Sliver, that was its name, not Woodcutter Sliver. Oh, this one is in Spanish, the Hollowhead Sliver. Oh, and it's also in English, okay. So I forgot to... This one I have in Spanish and in English, both normal version, foil version, and I think I have one in Japanese also. Oh, I did get a Spiteful Sliver in foil. Huh. The Tempered one, the Lava Belly. Oh, this one I pulled from a booster. I got the normal version from a booster and the foil version. And I also had the Pulmonix Sliver, not in foil, but from the boosters, and the Bone Splitter, I think. I had like 6 or 7 Slivers. I actually got pretty lucky for the amount of boosters I got. And this Harmonic Sliver, this is the one from the list, okay? But I have it here because there is a little misprint in this card. Let me get the normal version, just a second. Where is it? Where are you? Where did I... Ah, here it is. Okay. So, this is the first copy I bought of the card, and I bought another one because if you look here, let me put this to the right. So, if you look here, do you see this small white spot? Actually, let me get it closer to the camera. Ah, there you go. Okay, so that white spot and another smaller one right there. That's a misprint. That's not dirt on the card or anything like that. That's actually in the ink. Okay, if you look them side by side, you will see that the normal copy doesn't have these spots here. So that's something interesting. Right, and finally, since I live in Europe, I have access to, well, I have easy access to a lot of cards in different languages. So again, one thing that I do when I buy slivers, I check if the seller has slivers in different languages. Okay, I check for foils, I check for different variations, like just to get a nice bonus. So here we have a Megantic sliver, but in Portuguese. And the foil is really blinding for some reason. It's not even that intense, but I guess with the reflection of the sleeves, the effect is amplified. So yeah, check this out. I don't speak Portuguese, so I'm going to mispronounce this. but it's Fractius Megantico. Sorry, Portuguese people, I know I just butchered that. But yeah, in Portuguese, Sliver is Fractius, like fracture or fraction. So I mean, I don't speak Portuguese, but this makes sense, okay? In Spanish, it would make sense also to call the fragmentados something similar, but I like fragmentados more. Oh, and a Fractius token. Then I have a few of them in Italian. In Italian, they are called tramutante, which I don't know how it would be translated back. So mutante, it's mutant. So it seems like maybe they have changed the name of the slivers a little bit in Italian, but I really like the name, even though I don't really understand it. So tramutante sounds really good in my opinion. It has that power in the name, like fragmentados, tramutantes. I really like it. So the quick sliver, the lymphatic sliver, hypnotizing sliver, frenzy. I actually have a few more in Italian than I thought. The poison sliver, the steel hide sliver, battle sliver, blur, ransaker. Oh, I actually got one of these from Modern Horizons 2. Tramutanti Ventrelava. Very nice. And then I also have a few of them in Japanese. Winged Sliver, Muscle Sliver. These are really old slivers, by the way. They are from Tempest, and I got them cheap, which was really surprising. A Poisonous Sliver. Oh, and yeah, like I mentioned before, I got most of them from Modern Horizons, also in Japanese. The Zero Escape, Blade Back. I don't speak Japanese either, so I don't know. I mean, this means sliver because we have the creature type here, but that's all I can say about these cards in Japanese. Oh, and these ones are in Chinese, if I'm not mistaken. But I don't know if this is traditional Chinese or simplified Chinese. I probably knew at some point, but I have forgotten. Well, I have it noted down in my checklist, so I could check, but I don't have it at hand right now. Oh, and this one I got from my favorite store. El Barbas, as we called him. He had this one for sale for a really cheap price. I think it was like half price because it's in Chinese and most people don't care about it. And I went like, yeah, sure, I will take it. I like it. It's something interesting to talk about. Oh, and Korean. I really like how Korean looks. It's like, it's a very... The Korean what's this name? Oh my god, what's the name of this type of text? Iconographs? No. Well, at any rate, I love how Korean looks and is written. It looks very, very neat. Oh, and a Russian sliver. The only one I have, unfortunately. But again, I had the chance to get it, and I got it. The Opaline sliver, but in Cyrillic. Very nice. So now, let's move on to sliver things that are not cards. I have already shown you at the beginning this little guy. Okay. I think these are called the Creature Forge tokens. Amazing detail, really. Incredible craftsmanship in these things. Obviously, they are not handmade, but it's clear that they put a lot of effort into them. They come in sealed boosters, so you don't know which one you get. And they are put inside this, right? So they have like a plastic casing. So you cannot tell by the shape which one you are going to get. If you want to get a specific one, you have to get it unsealed. Well, already opened, I mean. You can put it there and close the thing and it's protected. Very nice. Then I have this life counter that it was released not that long ago. Actually, I learned about it just a few months back, I think. It has been out for a while, but it wasn't listed on card market, so I didn't know about it. It's foil, as you can see. And it's supposed to be a life counter, but I actually use it as a token counter. So whenever I put Sliver tokens, I just move this down here, and I count the tokens this way. So it's pretty neat. And here is an older one for the Sliver Overlord. And again, this one is also foil. I still have it in its little package. Again, there were very few copies of this thing left when I bought it. And I got a really nice deal on it, so I cannot complain. Yeah, these are from Ultra Pro. The other one is also from Ultra Pro. So very, very nice. Very, very shiny. It's shinier in real life than in the camera, I think. And what else do I have? Oh, okay. I have another life counter, but this one is really, really old. Here it is. The Sliver Queen life counter, still sealed in its package. Let me see if I can pull back a little bit the camera. Whoa. There it is. So yeah, I got this from a German seller, and I actually got really, really lucky because there weren't many left of this life counter. It's really old. I think it's from year 98, 99 maybe. It's really, really old. And suddenly a German seller listed like 2 or 3 of these in the webpage, and I was like, whoa, and he still has them sealed because the other copies were either damaged or opened or used, or the plastic was faded. So I quickly contacted him, and yeah, I've had this in storage for a while, and I need to make space, so I'm selling them. And the amazing thing is that he sold them for incredibly fair prices. So yeah, send me one, man. I'm a Sliver collector. I would love to have one of these, especially since it's still sealed. And he sent it to me, and he was really happy to send it my way because, as I've said, I told him I'm a collector, and he was very happy to hear that this was going to someone that would really appreciate it. And I guess he was afraid that people would use it to speculate, but it's not the case. And I actually took a photo of once I got this. I took a photo with the life counter and all the Sliver Queens, and I sent it to him as a thank you. And I let him know that now I had all the Sliver Queens thanks to him. And that's another really cool change. And finally, I do have some playmats, and this is the last thing, so we are reaching almost the end. I don't think I have a way of showing this properly, especially with the light reflection. Okay, no, from this side, yeah. So this is a Thorncaster Sliver playmat. Got this one from Portugal again. Not my favorite card to get a playmat from, but it's a Sliver. It was affordable and they were sealed, and I plan on keep them sealed for collecting purposes. So I have not opened this, and I don't think I will. So sorry about that. I cannot show you the actual playmat, and in fact, I could have used one of them for the video, but I don't want to open them, so I just improvised this little theater. And another playmat, this one from Ultra Pro. Okay, let me the camera to focus. And this one, again, it's sealed. It's for the Sliver Overlord. And this is a really cool playmat. I really... it's a real pity that I won't be using this one, because I would be using it all the time. Again, it's sealed. I have not opened it, and I want to keep it that way. But yeah, it's a piece of the collection, so I will keep it this way. The seller for this playmat, by the way, when I asked him if the playmat was sealed, he was a little bit... he didn't understand at first why I wanted the playmat to be sealed. And he had them in perfect conditions, as you can see. But yeah, it was a little bit confusing, and I had to request him to send me some pictures, or he ended up sending me a whole video, so that was amazing of him. But yeah, why do you want to see the box? It's just a playmat, you know. Well, I plan on having this on display at some point. I'm still finding the way of best doing that, but I will have the playmats on display along with maybe some key cards or as many cards as I can get. And yeah, I had to explain that to him. It's better if it looks... I want them to look the best way possible. Oh, and I almost forgot. I have something else. One of the biggest pieces in the collection. The Premium Deck Series. Sealed. Now, can I zoom back enough to show it? There we go. Again, the light is reflecting. Sorry about that. Can I get... No, it's going to reflect. So yeah, the Premium Deck Series. And it's completely sealed. And again, I have a little story about this one. When I bought it, the seller... he was very nice. Again, I don't think I've had a bad experience with sellers in all of these years. So again, the seller, I think he was also a Sliver fan. Apparently only Sliver fans sell Slivers, which is ironic now that I think about it. He sent me... he had listed one box of this, okay? And I bought it. He had a decent price. Again, this is a little bit expensive nowadays. It was already expensive back when it came out, but now it's even worse. So this is one... I had to save a lot of money for this one. But yeah, so she sent me pictures and everything. It looked nice. Everything was in order. But when I got the box, it actually had down here... Okay, I did not get pictures for the bottom. It had a little rip in the plastic. And it was held with a little bit of tape. So I guess the box had ripped at some point, and to prevent further ripping, the seller put the tape there. And when I got the box, well, I wasn't very happy about it, because as I have explained, I want it as... Well, I'm a collector, so I want to have the box in the best state possible. And I asked him about this, and he was very apologetic. He took the pictures in a hurry. He explained to me he had some issues at the time. He took everything in a hurry. He didn't realize, basically, and I do believe it was a mistake on his part. And very kindly, he offered me to pay for returning the box and send me another box that he had in his personal collection that he had made sure that was in perfect state. And that was incredibly kind of him, especially since it was part of his personal collection. So that's crazy to me as a collector. It would be very hard for me to part with such an important piece of the collection, right? But he did it anyway, which I'm very grateful for. And yeah, he sent me this box that you have seen. And now I have a perfect box for the collection. And again, I don't plan on opening that. It's just for show. And I think that's about it, really. That's my Sliver collection. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope you have enjoyed the little anecdotes. If you have, again, I don't know, show me your collections, okay? If you collect maybe zombies, or if you collect else, maybe you collect art by an artist, maybe Jonah Bon or Rebecca. In Spanish, her surname would be pronounced Guay, but I'm not sure if that's the case in English. So, but you know, Rebecca Guay, Kev Walker. Oh, that's one I like. He also has drawn a lot of slivers, and it's great because you can always tell when he has drawn one of the slivers. Anyway, if you have a Magic collection, I would love to hear about it. And that's about it. Thank you for listening. And I hope, I hope you have enjoyed this celebration of slivers and this celebration of, for me, that I have finally completed the collection. Bye-bye. Haha, just kidding. I forgot about something. I bought an empty Ultimate Edition Secret Lair box, and I usually keep my the 5 legendary slivers here. Now, if I can open it, right, here they are. This is how I usually store them. These boxes are really cheap once you get the fetch lands out of them. So I contacted the store. I asked, hey, do you have the little plastic boxes? And yes, sure, we can send those. So I got the box with the plastic cases, and I keep the legendary slivers here. So it's an excellent presentation. It's, even if you don't know anything about Magic, when I show this to people, they understand it's something cool. So if you have the chance to get one of these to store some cards you like, it's really good. It's a really good presentation. And yeah, that's about it. The only drawback is that one day I'm going to grab my Sliver deck in a hurry, and I'm going to forget to put this in, and it's going to be really funny, and I'm going to feel really, really dumb. But yeah, now for real, that's everything. Bye bye.